Hi there, thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I did the outline and the underdrawing for this portrait of a girl embracing nature. Be sure to watch it right through till the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. This is a handy method really to learn how to do freehand. It's a quarter grid. You start off with 1 inch grid, 2 inch grid, 3 inch grid and end up with a quarter grid, then eventually just one point in the center. But here all I'm doing is getting the big shapes in first. The surface I'm using is pastel matte, dark grey, and I'm using a 708 Carbotella pencil, which is ideal for this. Here you can see how I use the pencil as a measuring tool and comparing one shape with another, also comparing width against the height, so it gives you an idea where things or points of the portrait lie, so it gives you an idea. And this is the sort of thing I would do if I were drawing it from life, you see, but I put my arms straight out using my thumb on the pencil and the tip of the pencil for the mark, and then do the same thing as what I'm doing here. So I'm putting it on very lightly. There's a lot of guesswork to start with, but using sort of imaginary angles and just feeling your way. And now even at this point I'm switching on to the energy of the person and how she's connecting to nature, because what I love about this reference image from Nina is that it's connected to the energy and it feels as though she's really absorbing the feeling around of nature, and that's what I wanted to try and get with this portrait. Right from the start, even at this stage, you should feel the personality, the energy of the person shining through, and if you don't feel that, you need to sort of correct it. So what I do, I'll go by how it feels. So I don't think about, oh, that don't look right. I feel it. So if it feels wrong, it needs to be changed. In this part of the outline, initially I did it wrong. You can just see the outline underneath. So I rubbed it out and then started again. Sometimes it's best just to do that and then reconnect and re-measure. And basically all you're doing is looking for shapes. So I don't see it as hair, just see it as movement and shapes. Everything is just shapes. Don't see it like you're drawing a mouth, nose or eyes. Just keep it very basic, and if you keep it like that, it keeps everything nice and relaxed then. I decided right from the start that I was going to draw this as a whole. So I've decided to draw the outline of the background in there as well, rather than just doing the finished portrait and then doing the background. I think it keeps a sort of connection right through the process then. So I'm feeling the way, even while I'm drawing this, I'm still looking at just a shape here and there, and don't see it as leaves or anything, just see it as shapes, light and shade. But I'm really focusing on getting that connection of the portrait with the landscape. Even at this stage here in the outline, you should feel a connection to everything. You notice I keep quite a distance away from the actual point of the pencil, so I'm keeping everything nice and loose, so very sort of slight marks to start with, and then once you're happy with it, then you can firm it up a little bit, but you're just feeling your way through. Now I use the Faber-Castell kneadable eraser to shape things as well while I'm drawing. Really great tool to have. I try to keep everything similar to what the background is, so I don't lose my way and it gives me something to follow. It don't have to be exactly the same. I'm using the pencil on a horizontal plane there just to actually see where these marks are located in comparison with what I've already drawn. So that's a good way of trying to locate these sort of points. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. It's worth taking your time just to feel your way and getting that feeling and the energy right before you start with the underdrawing. Here's the colours I'll be using for the underdrawing. Starting off with the white Carbothello pencil just to find the edge of the side of the face there, but just using a bit of olive green just to indicate a bit of the background. Using brown, red, yellow ochre, and then a bit of blue as well just to cool the temperature there. So it's a warm red I'm putting down, then a cold blue, and then yellow ochre. Just keeping it nice and simple, just trying to get some basic sort of structure in there and form. Now it's great fun to do this underdrawing because it teaches you how to really keep relaxed and loose, and I'm just getting the basic form in, like I mentioned, correcting that outline. So the idea behind the underdrawing is just to reshape things, make sure everything is in the correct place. So I'm still looking at it as shapes, connecting to the energy and feeling the sort of connection to the background as well as the personality. Using a bit of cold red for the lips here, just a different temperature to the skin tone. Now I'm just lightly putting pressure on the white now to create different sort of tones of white, and then just glazing over them with the blue, red and yellow ochre just to create some sort of idea of form. I'm not interested in getting the colour right, the value right, the chroma or the temperature really. It's just a matter of just getting everything into the right place and just enjoying the freedom of it. It's a chance, this stage is to have a play with the colours and see what might be needed when start putting the rich colours on, because it's quite cool temperature in the skin tone, so that blue added to the warm red creates a colder red, more of a purpley red, and just playing with that just to see what might be needed later on when I start putting the rich colours on. In places where it's warm, I'm using the warm red and the olive green, which will desaturate the red, because you'll find when you start to put the red on to start with, it's too rich and vibrant, so you need to desaturate it. So that's why I put the green on there, which is the complementary colour. Also in the shadow here for the underdrawing, I'm using brown for quickness, so you can just put the brown down with the warm red and mixing colours with that just to get the basic structure. Just like to take this opportunity to thank all my Patreons for all their wonderful support every month. I can't thank you enough, it means the world to me. If you're considering joining me on Patreon and would like the benefit of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please check out the link in the description below for more details. Now the neck is always interesting to do. Again, I'm using that white to create some sort of texture as well while I'm doing that, so different directions and squiggles and what have you. But then I'm using the red and the green again to desaturate it to make a natural grey, because it's like a grey, greeny, reddy colour. Now using red and then the green as the complementary will create a natural shadow, so it's really nice to use that sort of combination with the skin tone. Now for the colour here, I'm just keeping a basic blue really, because I don't want to spend a lot of time doing all that sort of intricate detail at this stage. Here you can see me doing the different directions with the white pencil just to create that sort of texture underneath the colour I put on. It's a strange feeling because I don't feel like I'm actually doing that, it's just happening. I'm just observing it happening. And how that works is that the more you can open your heart and the more you can send this open heartness to your reference image, the more it comes back, the energy, and it flows through you, out your hands, and the movement just seems to happen. The more you can let go and just have faith and just let things just develop without you getting too involved with it with your mind, it's surprising how easy and straightforward things become. What I tend to do as well is work on several areas at the same time, if you like. So 1 minute I could be working on one area, then all of a sudden I go somewhere else. So I let my instincts guide me to what needs to be done, because you might need to get a certain area done before you can get the other area more sort of in balance. So I listen to my instincts and just let it all happen really, and I just go with the flow of it. If we'd like to know more about how I mix colours and how I use the complementary colours to desaturate them, I have got a free class. The link is in the description below if you want to know more. Here's the colours I'll be using for the underdrawing of the hair. Same sort of procedure, you know, just using the white to sort of map everything out, but then I'm glazing over with the sort of browns of burnt sienna and burnt umber, yellow ochre, white, green, blue. There's all sorts of colours in hair. It's amazing really, but like the skin tone, I'm just interested in just getting the shapes. Just focus on the rhythm, the flow and the shapes of the hair. Just let it sort of develop and just compare one shape with what you've done on the face as well. So you're comparing, it's getting the balance, overall balance, and just enjoy the freedom of just getting these sort of ideas down and the basic structure. These areas here in the plait, I decided just to use basic brown and white just to keep it simple. Sometimes it's a good idea just to use one or two, maybe three colours, just to get that structure down, just to keep everything nice and straightforward, so you're not having to concern yourself with too much mixing and that. So just getting that sort of basic feel, flow, movement and energy of the hair. It can be done with just a couple of colours. This is a bit of real time for you, so you can actually see the pace I'm working at as well. Sometimes I do things quite quick, sometimes it's quite a steady approach, so I'll just let that happen as well. So whatever's needed, it just develops on its own really, and I just observe it. I'm not concerned of getting everything exactly the same as the reference. It's my interpretation at the end of the day. So I'm trying to be more loose as I'm getting older as well, so more impressionistic or suggestion of details here and there. But what I tend to do is keep it a similar look, as close as I can get it, but without getting too tense, because it helps you to follow the colours and everything, because if you're too random you can get lost in it. So I would suggest keeping a similar pattern, but it won't be too concerned if it's slightly different. For the background, I'm selecting quite a few different greens and blues, and basically what I'm doing first is mapping it out with the white and then just glaze over again with different colours. So I'm putting more pressure where it's lighter, less where it's mid-tone. So I'm using the actual grey of the board to shine through the white to create like a mid-tone if you like, and then just glazing over. So I'm putting very, very small amounts of pigment on there so it's not overloading the tooth, and it's basically just getting everything in place, just like when I do the face and the hair. It's the same principle. It's getting everything in shape, just looking at it as shape and not as leaves and branches and things. So I'm keeping everything just simple and feeling my way through, but I'm also connecting to how this feels, this background, in relation to everything else. Even though it's just leaves and everything, there's their energy that's around this background. So you can sense all sorts of things going off there when you're really quiet and listen. You can feel the feeling you get, and then transfer that onto your board. And that's by just letting go of the mind, so don't think about it. The more you can just open your heart and send this feeling to the reference image, the more you'll feel all this energy come back at you, and it'll feel amazing really. The colours seem different, they feel more brighter, fresher. It just changes everything once you can connect and let go of thinking and trying to do something, and just let go, the more you'll see. As well as colours I'm using here, I'm using greys as well. I'm using the 708 grey, which I use for the outline to get the basic structure of certain things, because it's a desaturation of colour anyway, putting that grey with it, so it works pretty well. I like to use greys in getting things prepared. Also I'm using a grey white in places as well instead of the white, just to map things out as well, because that sort of gives that sort of a receding a look using greys. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me because this would help the channel to grow. So using grey and white just to get the basic shapes in there, and then just glazing over with whatever greens you've got, and then just adding that lemon yellow does the trick. It creates more chroma in places. But again, with this being an underdrawing, not sort of concerned about getting the value right, the chroma right. It's all about getting things in the right place, and I'm enjoying relaxing and playing with these shapes. So each stage has an enjoyment to it then. It's not too taxing, it's more flowing. So the next stage will be focusing on getting the value and the chroma and the actual temperature right, but you've done all this work what you're doing on the underdrawing, which will help considerably when you actually start putting those nice rich colours on and details later. Now I'm just keeping just flat colour for the collar and the shirt here, because basically I can put all that in next stage. Now I'm really careful not to put too much pigment and to overload the tooth of the pastel mat. Even though this area here is quite bright and vibrant, I'm still putting low-key highlights in there, and that rich colour will be put in on the later stages, but making sure I've still got that tooth to do so. Well, that's the end of part one. Thank you so much for watching the video right till the end. I really appreciate it. It does help the channel. If you found it interesting, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. And if there's any questions at all, please leave a message in the comment section below this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But in the meantime, if you want to look at any more of my work, please check out this video here. Take care. Bye for now.